This is an early demonstration of the HD3D Checkmate tool in NX7. This is on Windows XP here without the cool new Vista and Windows 7 graphics bits. We'll start here with tags from HD3D. We can mouse over these guys. We get a rich tooltip now in Checkmate that tells us a little bit about what's going on. As we select the tags, you see the tile list here scrolling, selecting with us as well. If we go and double click on one of these tags, we'll get the info view here, which is basically like the results display area. In the old dialog, you'll notice here that it synchronizes as well as we select other tags. This is a rich text area, as you can tell. It has hyperlinks in it now. Of course, you see some font things going on, and these hyperlinks here can launch a browser as well, of course. Let's see. As we look at the tags here, there's some other MB3 options. We'll close this down here. Look at the make the work part is a new one here for NX7. Some things we can fix in the assembly context. These tags are telling us here that there may be multiple objects associated with a certain failure or a certain test. This one has 2 objects here that have failed. So we can expand this tag. It'll show us now both locations, basically, where there's been a problem here for this particular one. We can collapse that as well, back down to just one. And as I said before, we can change the displayed part right there from the MB3. So we'll do that, and you notice that our tag selection there is preserved across that jump. Now, other things in the MB3 menu here. Focus view on tag is one in here. If we look at this one here, this, of course, will fit the screen now to the tag and the selected objects or the associated objects with that. The more interesting one is here, one where we can't see it, right? So if we do that, it'll pan over there for us, show us where that failure is, and get us to that one quickly. So let's go look at the full UI for the HD3D tool. This is, of course, it in full screen mode here. If we go back to the other mode here, we can see the rest of what we've got. First, let's go back up to the top level assembly here, where we started, and we'll see how this looks in normal mode. Back here in normal mode, the HD3D tools are over here in a new tab on the toolbar, right on the resource bar, and that's red right now because there's some failing tests in Checkmate. As we look at this, Checkmate is really one of 2 HD3D tools that are being released in 7.0. It's the active one right now. It's blue. They can both be active at the same time if we want. But as we go into the Checkmate tool, we see this default presentation style. It shows a flow list presentation here on the top and a table presentation on the bottom. The tile list we saw a minute ago was another presentation style. And we'll talk more about these in just a minute. But you see that as we select any of these, the others scroll and highlight to match. Right now, we're not showing any of the passing tests, right? In here, the settings group down below has filters for these, so we can go and turn on, for instance, the passing tests down below, and we'll see the little green check marks start to show up in the list up above. Okay, so we'll leave these off. I'm going to go turn these back off here to keep the list shorter. And you'll notice that the tests or the checkers now are at the top level in the tree by default. Right? Working with customers, we decided this was the most efficient starting point for looking at the results here. The table columns tell us a lot of other really good information here too. And sorting these columns here will allow us to approach the results in a variety of different ways here. We can sort by the checker name and fix similar ones first. We can sort by the category and do all the modeling ones first, for instance, or all the drafting ones. We can sort by the part name here, for instance, and go after all the failures in the rod part first if we want to, or for instance, sort by the results, work on all the failing things before we work on the warnings, for instance. So the sortability of the results is new for NX7. We think you'll like this a lot. If you've configured your own checkers, like this naming convention check right here, created HTML docs, the test help option is still there, and to launch a browser, for instance, with your own help. We've also put a new way to do this. If you put a correctly named HTML file in the same folders as the checkers, we'll add a hyperlink in here in the detailed view for you automatically. It's kind of nice. Let's see. Some of these results in here are for drafting checks, right? So if we go look at those, we still have the MB3 action down there to jump into the drafting application. Switch to application drafting there. And as we do that there, tags are going to work the same in drafting, really in all of the applications inside NX. let's see, focus view on tag, for instance, for these guys here as well, will similarly fit the object to the screen, so we can find it and fix it, which is nice. You may have noticed there that as we expand and collapse the test in the trees there, that the associated tags out there will show and hide themselves. Okay. Up here again, for instance, there are some spell check objects here in the drawing, and again, as we expand and collapse that, we can see those particular ones. In this case, actually, the drawing is part of the problem in this particular model here. The user did not build the master model drawing correctly, so we're going to go and delete the drawing here, and that's actually going to fix a lot of checkmate errors in here. So we'll come back here in modeling. We'll see these 3 drafting checks here at the top. We sort by the part there for the assembly in the tree, and as we reevaluate or re-execute checkmate here, we're going to see these 3 tests go away. Right? So we'll come down here and poke the execute checkmate test button. We've made that very handy, and re-execute. And as we do that, you'll see those 3 top ones go away, and we're down to some others. There's one little tiny edge check here in the assembly, but we got rid of all the drafting ones. Okay. We're going to change the displayed part to this guy and fix some things in this part here. You'll notice here that again, we have a new option here to select associated objects. As we do that here for some features, you see it automatically also, of course, scrolling the part navigator to let us see those. This cylinder here, for instance, is part of a check that's looking to make sure that the first 3 features are datum planes, for instance, one that some people like. So you can drag that cylinder down so that it's not one of the first 3 ones anymore. As we do that, you'll see that as we go back to the list here now, we can again revalidate that 4th one here. Will go away. If you look at the tag out there, you see how long the list is here. For instance, when we revalidate, we'll see the list get shorter. We'll see that tag out in the graphics area go away, and we've fixed the problem here. Okay. Some of the tests here don't have a little plus sign. You notice these don't have associated objects. This particular one here is looking for a part attribute called cage code here that doesn't have a value assigned. That's a problem. Okay, so for instance, we don't know where to hang the tag for a part attribute, for instance. So we can go into the part properties here. Sure enough, there's our cage code without a value, and we can assign a value there, for instance. Once we've assigned that value, then we can go back and again revalidate, and our list will get shorter again. Okay. Another test here, this particular one is some datum planes that, for instance, are on the wrong layer. Okay. As we go to look at these, if we try to fit the object to view, it'll get us kind of to the ballpark here. But they're not visible yet, so we can go and look at the display properties, for instance, see which layer this guy is on, and then use that information to go and light up the correct layers here, so that we can see these on 63 and 64. Once we've done that, we can see them. I notice that the tags become visible at that point for those objects. Now that they're visible, we have the tags, use the tags to select the associated objects from the tree and send them to the right layers here now. For instance, we can also select these from the graphics area and do the same thing. The tags automatically go away there, you notice, as the objects are no longer visible. And as we revalidate, the model here now is going to get better and better. Okay. Here again, that one will go away as we rerun the test. We can use checkmate to navigate over to a different part here. Problem in the rod part over there. This feature and this particular one here is out of place, kind of like our cylinder a minute ago. So we can drag that into the right position and revalidate here. And again, our list is going to get shorter and shorter as we do that, which is the goal, of course. Okay. One last thing about the HT3D display styles. We can actually rip any of these styles kind of off of this dialog out into the graphics area all by themselves, like we saw in the beginning. So we can take the table, for instance, drop that out there, use it all by itself without the rest of the dialog if we want to. We do the same thing with the flow list here, drag it out there. This one's kind of interesting. You can grab the corner of this guy and resize it to a vertical orientation, make a vertical scroller if we want to there, which is kind of nice. In the dialog, we can choose that initial presentation. We can choose to see just the tree if we want to, if you like that presentation, or look at the tile list, for instance. And this tile list is the one that we started with at the very beginning. Again, we can send that out to the graphics area, and this is great for full screen modes here, for instance, or to put on your second monitor. So this has been the HD 3D Checkmate for NX7.